Valencia is the largest producer in Europe of citrus fruits. The region has more than 16,000 hectares, feeding the entire world.
Here we produce the best mandarins in the world. They're healthy and they meet all the health regulations.
However, Bernardo's plantation, like most in the region, are treated with Chlorpyrifos, a controversial pesticide already banned in 8 European countries, which could be totally banned in the EU from January.
That's going to affect us because the EU is opening its doors to produce from abroad that doesn't have any restrictions on it, and we're forced to work with our hands and feet tied. Because we can't tackle any of the pests, even though we have a very hot Mediterranean climate. We can't do anything about produce coming in without any controls on it at all.
This farmer says the pesticide is essential. It finishes up in our fruit bowls. More than 1 out of every 5 fruits in Spain contains it, even though studies warn of its danger for our health.
So here is where we store 150 urine samples from children in the Valencia region.
This laboratory is studying the impact of Chlorpyrifos, and the results are alarming.
Our analysis show 80% of the children's urine contains Chlorpyrifos.
Children are the most vulnerable to the effects of the synthetic pesticide.
That means they are at risk of developing neurological problems. It also has an impact on motor functions, intellectual abilities, and damages DNA. In principle, substances that damage chromosomes are banned from being sold.
A toxic product, and yet one that is widely used by farmers.
Once you're done, you'll have to deliver Chlorpyrifos, glyphosate, and also sulfur.
In this plant grower's shop, Juan sells the equivalent of 400,000 euros a year.
Chlorpyrifos is still being sold in granules with a concentration of 5%. That's the legal dosage, like this pack right here. What we're not allowed to use is the 48% version, but that's the one we used to sell the most. We use it mainly to stop caterpillars and ants. You have to put it directly on top of the soil.
Sold since 1965, the pesticide is the most widely used in Spain. Applied directly to the soil, it infiltrates the water and degrades the local ecosystem.
Because it's toxic, I have to put gloves on to be able to handle it. Even the smallest use of the product has a negative impact on the environment.
And it's because of those harmful effects that some farmers in the region took the decision to stop using it.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo va la recolección?
Bastante bien.
¿Va bien? ¿Sabe bien la fruta?
Camilo used Chlorpyrifos on his fields for 20 years before giving it up 2 years ago.
The quality of the produce is much better, and there is no sanitary risk because there is no residue. We stopped using it because we think that the future for our industry is to provide fruit that are free of synthetic chemical residues.
To tackle pests on his fruit, this farmer uses insects to eat those that eat his crops.
The change I've seen is that wildlife is less disrupted. All in all, pest problems have become less frequent. It's true that Chlorpyrifos was a good pesticide for tackling certain diseases, but its side effect was the imbalance of the entire ecosystem. So eliminating this synthetic pesticide has helped improve the quality of our crops.
A more ecological option, but one that's more expensive, 10 to 15% more expensive than Chlorpyrifos.
Production costs have increased, but sales prices have not changed.
A cost hike that comes at a bad time because the competition is tough. Imports of oranges from southern Africa and neighbouring Morocco are causing falling prices. No one is checking whether they were produced with or without Chlorpyrifos.